good to you joining us for season 2, episode 11 of A Measure of Marketing, where we're going to chat through where marketing meets sales. And we're going to really dig into sales probably more than marketing, given this is a marketing podcast, but we're going to touch on sales, aren't we?
We are.
Mm.
This is a big topic at the minute. I think I say this every episode.
You do, yes, and it excites you. Yeah.
Oh, it does excite me as well. It does. I don't want to think that I make up the podcast episodes, right?
Development director, yeah.
Um, but it is a conversation that I have a lot with people around business owners, around 2 points really. Almost thinking that marketing will do absolutely everything, and it doesn't always, but it can do a lot of the legwork. And then feeling absolutely gross when the word sales is ever mentioned.
The ick.
The,
Yeah.
the ick. And also, let's not ignore the point that sometimes people don't do either as well.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
they do too much of sales, but they haven't got marketing to offer the foundations for it.
Yes.
Yes.
And this goes to solo entrepreneurs, little businesses, and big businesses, because I have worked with some big businesses. So don't think that they all have it together either by any means. So shall we give some examples of like marketing to sales and what that means? Because I think that can be a bit blurry in like a simple funnel scenario. I like to talk about funnel.
We've mentioned funnels for a minute, and I think they are a good way of, I suppose, the top funnel being more marketing, more of the attraction, and
Yeah.
then pulling through down into the bottom of the funnel, which is more of the business development and the sales conversations and
Yes.
eventual conversions. I
Mm-hmm.
think what blurs for some people is what marketing's responsible for and what
Mm-hmm.
sales are responsible for. And I think that's where it blurs. And the traditional kind of marketing and sales relationship is very different now, I think, with social selling. So using LinkedIn, for example, or lead magnets, where you've got more automation to pull people in, and marketing, I suppose, having a role that does a bit more of the conversation than what sales used to.
Yeah.
So that's where I think it does tend to blur a bit for people. But for me, yeah.
Because I guess the that's what I tend to teach in some form or fashion is like a marketing funnel, and then get business owners purely for them to like visualize it, what where different channels and platforms or pieces of activity of marketing sit on the funnel. So it's one's a bit broader on the basis at the top because we've got all of these built up audiences. Whereas when you start to collect data, maybe email marketing, that's you've kind of got your own nice little part of engaged people, and that's nurturing them in the middle of the funnel, in my
Mhm.
opinion. But actually, some of those channels at the top, say just website and social media, you can still sell on those. So that's where people are like, but actually, I've got sales posts that are going out on Instagram, or I'm talking about a specific service and saying buy
Mhm.
now. So it can become a little bit blurry from that perspective.
Mhm.
But I think if we're on this podcast, thinking more like relationship building over sales, and having, if it was solo entrepreneurs, having conversations with other business owners, to turn that into a service-based client, that might be a good example.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because we're service-based people
Yeah.
as
Yeah. Yeah.
well.
Mm.
So, for example, simple funnel could be social media to start with at the top. You're directing people over to your website. Um, your website then has either like a pop-up box to subscribe to an email or download a free guide on a certain
Mhm.
topic. Then people drop into your email audience, and then you send out some regular emails, of which some of those speak specifically about your service, book a call, and then you're sat on a meeting, on a Zoom
Mhm.
call with them,
Mhm.
having a sales conversation, basically. That could be
Yeah.
a simple funnel flow. And if it worked perfectly and very timely, then it gets all the gold stars.
And so, with the example you've just given, marketing could be responsible for every element of that funnel.
Yes, it could
Hmm.
be.
Hmm.
It could be. You could also just show up at networking, meet someone, have a good conversation, which is what's happened to me recently. And you're in this, am I marketing or am I sales at this
Yeah.
networking event? And then they're like, can I book a call with you? And you're like, oh, okay. And then we're straight into sales. And you're like, "Ugh,"
Hmm.
having the
Yeah.
face-to-face conversation
Yeah.
and all of that. So it can happen in different ways, which is why I try not to be like, sometimes it's you're in a marketing thing now or you're in a sales thing now, because it can flip somebody into panic, like I panicked the other day.
It's hard because say if I'm offering a service, a marketing service, and I only have so much time and the client only has so much budget, I
Mhm.
actually have to be quite strict on what I believe to be marketing's responsibility
Yes, you do.
over and above what is sales. And
Yeah.
if you as a business owner aren't that way inclined when it comes to sales, you can actually have a gap because you can
Yeah.
do all this marketing, but then if
Yeah.
you're not going to take the ownership of the business development or you don't have someone else to hand that over to, all the efforts under the sun of the marketing aren't
Mhm.
going to be balanced well enough if you've got no one turning those um, leads or those inquiries into something.
Yeah.
So yeah, then it's like, well, okay, you need someone else because if you're not that way inclined, if you're more long-term brand building, that can be a problem.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
And another way to look at it, actually, when I was in a corporate marketing role, we would have um, a brand team that did brand activity at the top, marketing, as in
Mhm.
who they were, who the business was, all of that, the top level messaging to some degree. And then we would have a campaigns team that would
Mhm.
deliver the specifics of how you can come, and it was a university. So brand at the top, and then how you can come and actually study with us and the different courses and things like that. So then they would turn up to an event, potential students, and then we'd be getting into, I guess, sales conversations with them in the moment when they were asking questions, and they would speak to lecturers or admissions people and things like that. So there's that element of with business owners I see sometimes, is that they'll do this stuff at the top, um, but yeah, not bring down the
Mm.
in the slightest.
Mm.
Um, which is why I think it can be like, well, no one reacts to anything that I don't get any likes, or I don't get any inquiries, and I don't get any leads as such. Um, yeah, I see that quite a lot.
I think we sort of forget if we look back, if I were to look back at my corporate time to be able to make this more relevant for small business owners, you'd have marketing that, for example, if you did a trade show, marketing responsible for the stand, for the collateral, working in line with sales, what they needed to be able to sort the conversations. And once you'd kind of done that, you're like, well, I've done all of that. It's not my problem now, to a certain
Yeah.
extent.
Yeah.
But the sales team would have the sales conversations, and you'd have all the lead forms, and then you'd have to go and qualify them. And what would, become a hot lead? What would, would you just put on the back burner? But
Yeah.
what you'd forget is that there were subject matter experts that might attend this trade show from your company who are doing the do. So outside of marketing and sales, that could have a conversation where it falls straight into the middle and the bottom of the funnel because they're already on that kind of
Yeah.
on the page of the subject matter. And
Mhm.
I think that's the same with small business owners, or if you have a small team, is that you think it's, this beautiful funnel and how it works, and it doesn't. It could be a referral, or it could be a project, or it could be you could upsell or cross-sell from somewhere else that it doesn't, it's a bit more squiggly. It's a bit like
Yeah,
squiggly careers. It's just
totally.
not as streamlined or as uniformed. And I think you have to remember that every touch point, every communication is marketing or it's brand building. And so every touch point could be a sales conversation. I think the worst thing is if you go into a conversation thinking you're going to sell. Don't do that. If anything,
Yeah.
sales has become, I think,
Yeah.
more relationship building. And we've spoken about this before, but in a way, everything you're doing is there to have a conversation and get to know someone and build a relationship, whether it's marketing, sales, or whether it's someone just, in that middle part giving you a lead or giving you an opportunity. So
Yeah.
it does blur. I don't think it's as cut and dry as it was,
No.
unless you're having to really take responsibility or ownership of sales or marketing for any reason. But for a small
Yeah.
business owner, it could be all of that. It could be
It could be
everything.
all of that. Yeah, definitely. And I think there's also something so something that I learned this year for myself. I did actually spend time with a sales coach. It's not actually sales. We called it pattern recognition because what I would do as a marketeer, I would do all of the marketing stuff, and there'd be certain times where I would get a signal off somebody who was like, I might need help with that. Or they might say something that isn't a direct, can you do my marketing for me? But they would say, I'm kind of struggling with this, or oh, I might come back to you on that. But I would just miss it. I would miss not helping them, but I would miss the signal of we could actually have a conversation. Let's talk. Like, because I would be like, oh, I'm not quite sure if they haven't been direct enough with me. So
Mhm.
I would just help them in the moment and then not like follow up. If I had
Mm,
like a full sales head on, I would obviously not sell to them in the moment, but I would then start to explore, okay, what is it that you're struggling with? What have you
mm,
got this like or that? Like
mm,
find out what their problems are in a conversation and give them a bit of advice, but then remember that conversation and log it down in
mm,
in some way to go back to them and check in, see how that advice landed. Did they do it? Are they still struggling? And then the bit that I hate the most, but have started to do, actually say, is there anything that I could help you with further? I have this service or this that might be useful for you. Would you like me to share more details on it? And actually ask rather than wait for them all the time to come to me.
mm,
That is another thing that I see quite often, and I am guilty as charged for doing that
mm,
up until 2020, January 2026.
mm,
But actually, that bit where I've then said, so take a networking event that I was at a couple of weeks ago, there was someone introduced three people to me. And I could have just easily give the free advice in the moment and left it at that. And in the past, I would have done that. But I then went back to them the day after and said, do you want to continue that conversation? Like, where are you at? Shall we grab a coffee? Is there anything more that I can do to help? And they were like, yes, please. But I would have left that previously
Mm.
because I'm too scared of sales. So even just that, let me help. Can I help you further? Leave it
Yeah.
yes or a no. It can
Yeah.
actually lead to a better, even better brand for yourself because
Yeah.
you've led it and helped them. You still have to read the signals because then you're getting into a conversation, particularly for you and I, where have they got the budget? Are they like fully invested for the work? Have they got the time? Are they just like psychologically invested in doing marketing? And you have to read them signals. And sometimes you can be like, I'll help to this point, but I can kind of feel that you're not ready. So I'll follow up with you in a few months' time.
Mm.
But actually those conversations led to actual client work. So sometimes just leading it and like supporting that relationship is really helpful as well for you and for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think most salespeople have a lot of confidence and they always have a lot of resilience and kind of this self-esteem of knowing that they know their stuff. Not all small business owners or founders or MDs have that.
No.
And I think it's quite different from doing marketing to then having to have a conversation where you're really putting yourself out there to get something over the line. But I think and I've had this feedback from clients that having worked with me on the marketing side, and this isn't to promote me or what I do at all, it's more to give the insight that having the confidence then for them to have sales conversations comes from understanding what their offering is, who their target audience is, why they're offering what they do, and how it can help. And I think any good
Yeah.
salesperson can pick that up really quickly and can go in and can sell something because they understand all of that very quickly. I think when it's yours, your baby, you're a founder and you haven't necessarily got that confidence,
Yeah.
that clarity and that understanding of what you offer and why can give you such a boost in confidence to be able to go and have those conversations. But I
Yeah.
think it takes time. So often you can see that sales don't necessarily ramp up at the beginning because you're building that brand and the messaging and everything else. But equally, it's almost as if you, as a founder, as a business owner, you're almost believing it as well and figuring it out
Yeah.
and niching or trying to learn it and understand it so that then you can sales pitch it or you can deliver it in a relaxed and but confident way.
Yeah.
um, and I think that there's nothing wrong in admitting that and
Yeah.
either finding someone that can do that for you if you've got budget, if you really, really don't have the confidence, or just taking your time to build yourself up so that you understand it well enough that you have the
Yeah.
confidence to sell yourself and your
Yeah.
business.
Definitely. Like I really recognize in my own journey, and when I talk about like sales and my recent sales experience, like absolutely not comfortable sometimes, but I recognize like the first year, I was like, well, we're doing this now. So I had no idea what I was really offering, but I was like, I know marketing. And that was probably one of my best years. My second year, confidence like dipped. And you can see that as well. And then I just went back into my comfort zone of doing marketing while I was figuring out what services I had to offer. So you can really relate to that. Other business owners that we work with, when they haven't got that like marketing background at the same time as they're
Mm,
figuring stuff out, and then people are talking about sales too, and um yeah, it's a lot to take on, and particularly when you're in the conversation and having one-to-one conversations as well, you're still doing a little bit of marketing in them conversations because you're having to explain, you will always have to like explain the value that you give, I guess, in whatever
yeah.
in whatever you do. So you
Yeah.
need to really know that in yourself
Yeah.
as well.
But I agree with that. I also think any good salesperson or any person that's really good at selling will recognize that it's not about them and the product and the service they're selling. It's actually about
Yeah.
the person and
Yeah.
what they're saying and listening to what they're saying
Yeah.
to, and it's not a psychological kind of brainwashing thing, but it's understanding what they're saying to you and interpreting that in the right way to
Yeah.
position what you're selling. And I've gone to I've gone to umpteen trade shows, but more recently on behalf of clients where you have someone come up to the stand and like don't completely annihilate them with the sales blurb. Actually ask about them. Why have they come to the
Yeah.
stand? What is it they want to know? What are they trying to achieve? What help do they need? And then you can actually explain it so that it's relative. Because if you just give them a load of crap and just blurt it all out, they're going to go, "You don't know me. How can you just give me all of this? You've got no
Yeah.
understanding."
I didn't
And it's
ask
like,
for it.
ask the questions, stand, listen, take it all on board, and then interpret it in the right way because it's the relationship that you're building and you're making
Yeah.
it relevant to them. And I think if you've then got the understanding of your offering and your product and your service and your audience as well as what you do, that should come so easily to you.
Yeah.
Um, and again, we always say in marketing, it's not about you, it's always about the other person.
It
I think
is.
sales is the same.
Yeah. And I think the more that you can step into conversations, be it we call it a sales conversation, or you actually someone's asked to have some one-to-one time with you, a discovery call or whatever it is that they've asked for, even if it doesn't turn into a paying customer in some way, like to really pay attention and listen to that is actually more content for you. It's
Yeah.
what questions were they asking? What were their objections? Have you heard a similar story before from someone else? Um, would you really see that person inside one of your services, or are you actually working with that person? Was it an ideal client or was it not?
Mm.
Like there's so much that you can reflect on after having a one-to-one conversation, a sales
Mm.
conversation with someone.
Mm.
Because there's many times when I've had discovery calls, or you think you're discussing a proposal with someone and you're like, actually, no, like no, they're not
Mm.
an actual ideal client. Like it probably wouldn't work. So but there's so much you can take out of it for future content, or maybe you can shift your marketing approach, your marketing strategy off that. Like there's all
Yeah.
insight into it. And
Exactly. It's the insights that create the ideas and the understanding. And sometimes if you don't get the sale out of it, it may not actually be anything you've done. It could be that they don't have the budget or the time right now and they'll come back in 6 months or 9 or whatever else it is. But equally, it can be something that the way in which you've delivered the messaging or the way in which you have positioned the offering as a package versus as something a little bit more flexible, or the price point was wrong for the product. And now you know that you could reflect that in the marketing and your messaging. But it you can learn from it all.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think that that's the thing out of all of it, really, marketing and sales, is that, or however that divide is, even in even in if you're doing social media posts, even if it's a blog that you've written and you've shared it, or there is a lead funnel, or your emails, whatever it is, it's all
mm,
feedback that to pay attention to. You don't have to make drastic changes, but it is something that you can implement um
yeah,
along the way.
yeah,
Like it should be
yeah,
this cycle of, okay, that was an interesting conversation. I'm actually going
mm,
to use that here, or that email
mm,
didn't do as well as the last one. Wonder
mm,
why. We'll tweak this next time. Have use it as a bit of a test and learn.
yeah,
Um, and just to get good at communication overall, really. We all need to be better at that in all aspects of life. Like it's just an ongoing thing for us all individually.
Yeah. So when we look at it, I suppose marketing and sales, they're not that different. I think they are slightly in that marketing for me is always the long-term game. It's always the brand build, it's the
Yeah.
growth. And sales always used to be, I say used to be, the kind of short-term, quick fix. But actually, with the world that it is at the moment, particularly from a business to business angle, budgets and the lead-in times to actually convert, if you're going to use the jargon, to get a sale, can be so much longer than what they were before. So the sales process is almost as long as the marketing process to be able to get anyone over the line. My experience isn't necessarily in business to consumer, so I think it depends what industry you're in, but more so with B2B, yeah, the sales lead-in time can be as long as it takes to attract someone and go through that kind of, to the conversion side. So
I think it very much depends on the industry and the product and the service. Like I think in our world as marketing consultants, it can take people quite a long time. Like I've just had someone who we met 2 years ago and she's followed me since and now we're working together. We didn't talk about it then, but that could still be classed as like a 2 year conversion. I don't know what we're
mm,
calling it, but it's
nurturing.
to your relationship. Like because it is like they think that they know you and you think you know them because we follow one another on social media. So it is really just thinking of it as like we've got these connections, but maybe a quarter of them actually you're building some sort of relationship with them digitally.
Yeah. And you
And
have to.
yeah,
You have to. I mean, we said it before that 95% of the time people aren't looking to buy right now. It's the 5% that are. But for the
yeah,
95%, you are building that journey, you're building that trust all the way through until the point after 2 years, like for you, they've hit a point where they go, right, I need this now, and I know exactly who to come to, or what service I need. But
yeah. But then it's still about them when they're in front of you because
yeah,
as a service-based business, you're solving a problem, aren't you? So you have to dig into it to find out if you're a fit to work together.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that's everything I have to say on this.
Definitely a blurred line, I think, with marketing and sales now. And that relationship between the two is always going to be squiggly.
Yeah.
And the process will always be a little bit squiggly. I don't think it's as cut and dry as what it was. And we haven't even touched on like advertising, which is something totally different to marketing and sales, which kind of,
Yeah,
that's another episode. Whew.
it is. Yeah. I think that gets thrown into the marketing part quite a lot though. Yeah. I definitely have just tried to reframe it in my head though. And I think more so, well, I think since that client of mine that I've known for a couple of years, I was like, oh, this is interesting, isn't it? It's interesting that they remember some of my posts and like some of my emails
Mm.
and things that I've actually written has helped. It makes you realize that it's not as like cut and dry.
Mm. Yeah.
It doesn't go from marketing to sales. It goes from that person thought they've got someone in front of them that they've met before, that they kind of know, that's actually helping them along the way. And now I can help them. Like that's all it's come down to is like
Mm.
in some form or fashion, we've helped one another. And
Yeah.
and when I met a couple of people in a coffee shop yesterday, literally yesterday, I was like, I'm there to help them. Like, tell me what your problem is and tell me where your sticking point
Mm.
is. Like, maybe I could probably help them, yeah, but it we didn't need to be um salesy, and it's not
No.
direct salesy. It's a see them as a potential friend, like can I help them? but you have to be
Yeah.
in the conversation. Like, do you want me to send you a proposal? Like, okay, I'll send it by this day then. You look at it by this day and then we'll chat again on this day. And yeah, to like rein it in, like have a bit of a process around it.
But then I think your sales or business development journeys are different to mine in that I don't do as much face-to-face networking as what you do. And most of my inquiries come via my website. So that their journey is very different, that they've not met me first.
Yeah, that's important.
They've
Yeah,
found my site, they've maybe read a blog post, they've seen then some testimonials, they feel reassured, they then ask for a conversation, we have a conversation, there's a proposal. So I'm kind of the sales bod right at the end, even though I've
yeah,
done all the marketing,
yeah.
versus the person that attracts them when I meet them. So I think it totally depends on
It really
your
does.
front and your output and your approach,
Yeah,
because the journey's going to be the same, but it's going to be the psychological journey for the person wanting to purchase will be the same, but it will just be done in a different fashion,
yeah,
depending on how you approach your marketing.
yeah. And their perception is going to be different. So they're probably like trying to figure you out from the off quickly on that
Yeah,
call.
yeah,
Or yeah, like you and but for me, they'd have already met me to some degree and in a different setting though. So
yeah.
knowing different ways in which your customer can actually get to you first, that's why the content is important too.
And your website and social and yeah,
Yeah, but it's all people.
yeah, it
All
blurs
communication skills.
relationship building. Yeah. I don't know if we've clarified anything or just maybe just made it worse. But
I would also definitely have some just like questions to hand. Like, if you are a service-based business, a problem solver, there'll be like, I keep bringing it back to me, it's not about me, but there's I have these things in marketing that I know, but people have different problems and they're seeing it from a different angle because of the industry they're in or the person that they are or the work that they've done so far or haven't done or what their financials look like. But there's always like some key questions that I know that I can go to draw out more information. So if
Mhm.
my brain isn't able to function fast enough, I know I've got a pocket of questions that is going to get enough information for me to help them, but also help that make them feel seen and heard
Yeah,
about them. Does that make sense?
yeah, 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 yeah.
I've got something that I can always lean on to go to, and then depending on how the conversation goes, my marketing brain will kick in, and I'll be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
with a few ideas in the moment."
And I think that comes in time for anyone doing sales with a service or a product, is knowing what the right questions to ask from having worked with those with your clients for so long. And if you are just a very good salesperson that can drop in and out of companies, it will be roughly the same and then just tweaked based on what you're selling.
Mm,
But yeah, but again, I think that comes from confidence and clarity of your offering and your
yeah,
why and your purpose. And
yeah,
without all that, I know we always say strategy first, but without all of that, you can't sell. You can't put it across as to how you can help people.
no,
All the social posts and targeted ads aren't going to help you with that.
no, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
A mic drop moment for today.
Yes. And we'll end there. Thank
And
you. Thank you, everyone who is listening, for listening. Give us a like and a follow on your favorite platform, and we will see you in the next episode, I believe.
yes, yes. See you in the next one. Goodbye, Kelly.
Bye, Hayley.
Goodbye.
Bye.